Welcome back to another podcast for HomeNest Property Management. I'm Alice Lima. I'm one of the owners of HomeNest Property Management, and I'm also a real estate agent with John L. Scott Real Estate here locally. And today we're going to talk about changing the makeup of your portfolio. If you're an investor and you have even one rental, you might want to buy another, but you might want to sell something to buy out, especially if you have multiple properties. You might want to change the kind of property that you have in your portfolio. So the reason I'm bringing this up is because there's a big opportunity right now in the market because the prices are a little soft. They've been a little soft for several months, and we don't know how long that softness will be there. So it's kind of a good time to reassess your landlord business and decide if the properties you have in your life really suit you right now, or is this a good time to make some changes? So selling one of your rentals, especially if the tenant is still there in Oregon, because we are a rent control state, one of two, California is the other one. So it's a little bit tricky, but it's worth doing if the market is such that you can take that money and 1031 exchange it into something else that's better suited, better rate of return, closer to you, more units, just for some good reason. So selling when you have a tenant just means that you're going to have to address their feelings and their cooperation for the showings. So one of the things that I do as an agent, and I'm an investor myself, so I do this with my own properties, is I have a sit down with the tenant and I try to discuss with them the possibility of them buying the unit or them buying something so that they're not displaced as a tenant. I also offer to help relocate them as a tenant. That's partly how I ended up with a property management company. That's a different podcast. So do an initial assessment, have your real estate agent do the assessment, talk to them yourself if you have a good rapport with them, and just find out what it's going to take to get them pre-approved. I'm a big fan of everybody owning a rental. I'm a big fan of everybody owning some kind of real estate, even if it's not an investment. And it's worth having that 15-minute conversation with them anyway, so that they understand the process, whether they jump on that or not, because at the end of the day, it's up to them. And so get them pre-approved, get the process started. If they don't want to go that route, then assess with them what the schedule is going to be for showings. I really prefer, as an agent, to have access 3 times a week, one in the late morning, one in the mid-afternoon, and one on a weekend. I arrange with the tenant to have 2-hour blocks. My favorite is Tuesday, 10 to 12, Thursday, 3 to 5, and Saturday, 10 to 12. Easy to remember. If the showing requests are not on those days, then the tenant doesn't have to have a showing. It's only 3 times a week. But that 3 times a week is more than adequate, I have found, for the market to get in and see the property. If you don't get some kind of an agreement with the tenant up front, give me a call, give me a text. Maybe we could work something else out, or I could give you some advice. But usually the tenants are down for that, and they'll also get the gist that it's really happening. So the market in the last few years has not been super investor oriented. And what I mean by that is when we put something on the market with a tenant, 8 times out of 10, an owner occupied person buys it. We don't have a lot of investors buying rental properties in Oregon, in part because of our laws. But it's our laws that make landlording a good business here because it keeps the rents artificially high. But that's a conversation we can have further later. So when you have a tenant and you're putting it on the market, you're going to want that money to go somewhere else. We highly recommend the 1031 exchange. And we've got some videos on that. We can talk about that. But the target property that you're moving the money to has to be done in a certain period of time. But again, the prices are good. The inventory is higher, so you should have more choices. Now, a lot of people have a preference for single family homes, and that's a great investment. Those properties will go up in value as an asset, probably faster than the multifamily, but the multifamily properties will give you a better income stream because there's more than one unit. So again, you have to assess in your own investment life what works best for you. So if you have more questions or want more help, give me a call, give me a text, 541-301-7980, 541-301-7980. I'm an investor myself. I love good deals. And I also have been doing this for a long time, so can give you some good advice, whether you're ready to do something now or you're making plans for the future years of your real estate life. We'll have a great Southern Oregon weekend. We'll see you next time. Bye now.